Cinema Steven here, and this is your review of Wonka, Warner Brothers' new origin story starring Timothy Chalamet. And this is a very bizarre movie to review because this movie was not great as I expected it to be for some odd reason, and it wasn't bad. It was just the definition of mid, I guess is the best way to say it. Middle of the pack, right in the middle, because there are a lot of good things about this movie, and I'm going to start out with the positive things. Timothy Chalamet as Wonka, he did a great job. I think that he has a very good screen presence. Everything that he's been good in, whether it be something serious, Beautiful Boy, Little Women, any of the other projects that he's done. I like Chalamet. And of course, Dune. I mean, how can I disregard his performance in Dune? And the new Dune looks great. So I was kind of curious to see what he was going to do with this Wonka. I thought since he has a darker sensibility in some of his previous roles, that this one would be pretty fit for him. But he actually plays it kind of more upbeat and whimsical, which was something that threw me off a bit because obviously Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp's performances were more on the darker, edgier tone, more of a dark comedy aspect of things. And as far as his performance goes, I think he was really good. I think he was a good fit for it. But my main gripe is the fact that I think that his Wonka would have been better suited with a different script, a different plot, a different story. I think it kind of reminds me of how Henry Cavill's Superman, for example. He's great at Superman, but I just wish that he was in a better movie for that character. And it goes to this one too. And the production design of this movie is fantastic. It looks amazing. It looks like, the production design is very well done. It gives this kind of charming quality as to what you would hope to see in a Wonka movie like this. But my main problems with this movie are the fact that it really doesn't go into areas that you think it would go or where you would want it to go. And I think also this isn't canon to the original Gene Wilder one or the Johnny Depp one. This is its own story. It has its own world that it's building on. So anything that would possibly lead into either one of those movies, it doesn't matter because it's its own thing. And I think that it would have been much better had they gone into worlds that you kind of anticipate to see. Like go to Oompa Loompa Land, go figure out how you create the actual factory. But what we get is him coming to this town, fighting off this triumvirate of chocolate mafiosos, and it was just very bizarre. The jokes weren't very funny, and my biggest gripe was the music. Not the fact that it was a musical. I love musicals. I think that the Willy Wonka original was a good musical. It is a musical. There's music throughout the whole thing. But this musical just didn't have catchy music to it. There wasn't any single song that I had repeatedly playing in my mind, in my head. And I think that that was also a problem as well. Last few musicals that I've watched, there's always been one or two tunes that catches on. Peaches and Super Mario Brothers, for example. Who wasn't singing that song? It's a catchy little tune. None of the songs in this movie had those catchy little tunes. The best song was Pure Imagination, and that's only because it was part of the original. So I think that was a detriment to the film as well. If you're going to play it into the musical category of things, make sure that the music is stellar, and it wasn't in this case. And also, I kind of feel like it's my own fault for elevating this movie higher than it was going to be because of the director. The director is Paul King. Now, Paul King directed the first two Paddington movies. And if anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge fan of the Paddington Bear movies. And if you've never seen Paddington, I highly recommend you go see those two movies because they are what I would have expected from this Wonka film to be. Whimsical, lighthearted, fun, family friendly. It doesn't necessarily have to be family friendly, but it just really unifies things in a very wholesome manner. And, a lot of cynicism is played out today. And I think that it's good to have some of these kind of maybe overly saccharine, sappy stories that lead to happy incidents or happy endings. And there's nothing wrong with that, which is what the Paddington movies provide. But this one didn't. So I was kind of taken aback by some of the things that it didn't really succeed on. And the cast was amazing in this movie, but yet none of them were really held to the highest potential of their caliber. Olivia Colman is an amazing actress, absolutely amazing. And she wasn't that great in this movie. Maybe it was just how she was written into the movie. And also Keegan-Michael Key, for the first time in his career, I didn't laugh at anything that he did. There's this kind of ongoing joke about him gaining weight from eating chocolate, which, okay, it's funny the first time, but not the fifth time after. But it is still visually arresting. The production value is great. And I don't think that it was one to be rushed out to the theater to go see. So if you wait for it to come to Max, which it inevitably will in the next 2 or 3 months, I probably should suggest you wait for it then.